One of the first things that you want to do at this juncture is to create organizational structure for your business. So let's log in into SoftExperts again and just do that. Now, before we start creating the organizational structure for your business, let us try to get familiar with the main interface of SoftExperts first. You see that you have your picture over here. This is where you can access your profile, make changes to your phone number, and a few other things. So you can have your career plan here. The first page is where you can change your email, you can put in your phone number, and you can update your education level, or you have a change in address, you can put it here. And the system is also able to measure both your current performance as your potentials, if this is set up properly. This is a history of your career and succession plans. So from here, if the KPI system is set up properly, you'll be able to see how the organization measures your performance at the moment, but what is the potential areas that you can grow in, and how promotable are you, what's the organization's risk of losing you, what's the impact of losing you, and if you have left, what is the reason for you leaving. You can also look at your performance indicators in more detail if the system is set up for you to do this. Your development plan, the trainings that you have gone through, your academic background, work history. These are certificates and these are the training given, those without certificates. Any documentation regarding you, history of changes to your records, and you can print out your company profile, your personal profile from this page. Now, the big area here is a customizable area where you, your bosses, or the organization can display the appropriate area, dashboards from the system for you to see. What you see here can be the same as what your other colleagues in the same department is seeing, but what you see here can be only constrained to what you are supposed to see as compared to what your colleague is supposed to see. For example, personal things. Or some of these items can be shared items. All these areas are customizable. You can add new areas, and you can also add new pages. See, this row of tabs at the top is a list of pages of dashboard items that you can display. You can customize every one of these. See, I'm looking now at my Kanban cards. And I'll click here, I will go into more details. Now I'm accessing my risk dashboard. What I see here on my risk dashboards are only risks pertaining to projects and products that I'm dealing with. This can be different from what someone else is seeing on his dashboard. This is the analytics dashboard. Again, this is customized for my requirements. So I'm looking here at the processes being carried out by units under me and some statistics regarding the processes. I can click down here to go into more detail of the process. If I'm in charge of some assets, I can go down here and look at the performance of those assets. For example, if I have an event, say a breakdown, I can go down to new task here and I can record the event. And if I have a request regarding any particular asset, I can go down here and create a request. For example, if the light in my room is not working, I can create a request here to say, can you please come and fix my light? So you can see here, mean time before repairs, mean time before failure, mean time to repair, mean time before failure, and so on. Okay, in order to create a new organization unit, you go to components, where you can again see a list of all the modules that you are permitted to access in the system. See, we have action plans here, we have analytics here. If you're in the automotive industry, you have the APQP, you have archives of documents here, assets, if you need to plan for audits, a lot of things. So over 30 different modules over here. But where we want to go into is into the administration module in order to create a new organization unit. So on the left here, you have some quick shortcuts, and on the left here, I've got some quick shortcuts, and on the right here is the full menu. Notice here that you have two menus. One is a general menu, and one is called the configuration menu. If you have enough permission, you can also go in and perform some configuration tasks, like defining calendars, for example, or defining a complex file container. Complex file is where a file is made up of multiple files. A document is made up of multiple files, so you call it a complex file. Coming back to creation of an organization unit. Now, SoftExperts caters for multiple organizations. So you can use a single installation of SoftExperts to serve multiple companies or businesses within your entire group. For example, this is the name of the group of businesses, and under this group you may have multiple companies with subsidiaries. For example, you may have subsidiaries under one company and subsidiaries under the subsidiary. The level is unlimited. So we have created here a company called GeoID, and GeoID has one department called Top Management. What we want to do here now is we want to create a new sub-organization of a new department for GeoID. So you can either create a strategic business unit or you can create a department. So this will be a department. Let's say we are creating this department under new strategic business unit called mapping. Let's give an ID to the unit. The name of the unit is Service Mapping and Geographical Data. So the upper unit, the parent unit of this unit is the GeoID organization. And you can define here which team will control this unit. So let's give it a definition. A team that controls this unit does most of the administrative work regarding data control for that particular unit. For example, in creating configurations for those units. So let's put this unit under the control of the GeoID team. You can put a logo here. This logo will appear on your top bar and this logo will appear in your reports. Save this. Now you will see a lot of these icons on top of a lot of pages. The first icon allows you to save the current record and it will display a new page for you to put in a new record. The second choice will allow you to save the current record without leaving the current record. Some actions need you to save it first before you can have further action. So sometimes you want to click on this. But if you are done, you can also save and exit the page. If you save and exit, the page will close after you save it. So now under the GeoID organization, you have a business unit called GeoID Map SBU. And you also have another department right at the top of the organization called the GeoID Top Management. Now what we are going to do now, we are going to put a few departments under the GeoID Mapping SBU. So you click on it and then click the plus sign. The plus sign here allows you to create new records. The pen sign here allows you to edit the current record. The delete sign here allows you to delete the current record, to print the current record, and there are some other options. So not everybody will be able to delete, and you will be asked to verify before you delete any of this. But let's create a new department under this SBU. As usual, you'll be asked to provide an ID for the business unit first. It's a good practice to start the organization unit, to code the organization unit, beginning with the name of the organization itself. So here, let's say there's an aerial survey unit. So we'll give it a code of GeoID aerial, and we'll give it the name of GeoID aerial survey, right? It reports to the GeoID mapping SBU. You can create another control team, or you can still have the same team to manage the data behind this organization unit. So we are going to search for the GeoID team to be the team that controls this group. So if you look at the GeoID now, you have the GeoID mapping strategic business unit, and under the GeoID mapping strategic business unit, you have the GeoID aerial department. Now within this GeoID aerial department, maybe you have some people who maintains your drones. So you might want to create another department for these people, and you would call it the GeoID drone unit, for example. GeoID drone for the department ID, and the full name will be GeoID drone maintenance unit, reporting to the GeoID aerial survey. Again, the control team for this, if you have a small company and you don't have too many teams, so you may just assign the work of controlling the data for this under one team. So you see now that under the GeoID business, you have the GeoID mapping SBU, which has the GeoID aerial survey unit, and under GeoID aerial you have GeoID drone. What if you have another department under the GeoID mapping SBU? So you click on the SBU again, add another record, now what you can do with this that you are seeing right now is you can have this during a meeting where you are discussing about your organizational structure. So if you are designing your organizational structure, you can use this tool to design your organizational structure this way. So we'll call this the geo ID geodata. This could be the unit that processes the geographical data produced by the survey team. And this one belongs under the mapping SBU. Again, the team that controls this unit will be the GeoID data team. Let's save the record. Now basically what you have done is we have the GeoID business with the GeoID mapping SBU under this business with two departments under the GeoID mapping SBU. One is the aerial survey department and the other one is the geodata department. Okay, how do you use the results of what you have done here? So go back to here and go to users. Let's say we are going to create a new user who belongs to some of this department. So this is a fictitious user. Let's call him Drone Man, for example. His user ID is Drone Man. His name is, let's say, Drone Man Superman. And he reports to the CEO of the company. You can search for a particular person like this, or you can search for everyone who holds the position of CEO within the system. You can choose any one of them. Well, the person's name is not here, so let's call this Let's look for this guy. So he's going to be reporting to this guy. Let's say his address is runman at qid.biz, and he has a phone number. Let's give him a password. And a signature to be his electronic signature in countersigning transactions. When he log in, you can require him to change his password on next login, or you can not require him to change. Let's leave it there, and you can allow him to change the KPIs that he wants to see. So you've created this guy. Okay, if you have a picture of him, you can put the picture here. Save this one first without exiting, and you can see that you're going to have a lot more choices on the left. Click on department, and add in the department that this person is going to be working in. We have not created positions in that department yet. So in order to see the new departments that we have created, we have to create positions in them first. Okay, let's go back, and if you don't want to save, you can save the records if you've created it. So save and exit it first. This is another step that I've forgotten to do. What we need to do is we need to go back here and create positions under that department. So let's say, for example, for every department you want to have a manager, a department manager. So what we're going to do here, we're going to create a position called department manager for each department. So let's say we call it your ID department managers. Save the record first. Then you go down to the tab called department associated with position and add the departments that have this kind of positions in them. So remember the departments that we have created. We're going to search for all those departments. So we are going to go to those departments that we have created just now. So we're going to have managers in the aerial survey department. Edit this department. One of the things that you can do to increase your productivity here is that you can save your searches. So let's say, for example, we often look for GeoID in organization units. So we do a search for GeoID, which will produce the results, right? And we can save this search later on. Call it a new search. Give a name to the search. Let's say this is called GeoID. You can save it so that other people can also use the same search. And so you have here a save search called GeoID. So next time you don't have to type this anymore, you can just go to save searches. and search for that thing. So we have this position now, department managers. We are going to create another position. Let's say this position is also going to be available across all technical departments in GeoID. So let's create on the plus sign. And call this position GeoID engineers. The full name will be GeoID engineers. We're going to create a new one after this. Let's say for every department there's going to be an administrator. So we can call this GeoID administrators. ID administrators. Now save this first without closing it. Go to the departments tab. Add the departments that's going to have this position. We are just going to restrict to GeoID. So this is why we call all departments with GeoID in front. Let's say there's going to be an administrator in the aerial operations department and the geodata processing department and in the top management. But there is not going to be an administrator in the drone maintenance unit. So we leave this one out. And we save this record. So now you see that this position, the same position, you have the same sort of position in all these various departments. And we can close this position now. So let's go back to this position, managers, and edit this as well. He's already belonging to the top management department. And which departments in your organization has a manager? So you're going to add the manager position to all those departments that has a manager. Later on, what you are doing here will be useful for the security of your system. Let's say, for example, there are managers, there are things that only a manager can do. For example, giving approval. So this is why you're assigning this to the departments. So let's say there is a aerial operation manager, there's also a geodata manager. But there is no manager for drone. Notice that you don't have the SBU here. So if you want to put a position to a department, you have to create it as an department. If SBUs do not have any position under it, it is just a virtual unit. So department managers can be found in the aerial department, geodata department, and the top management department. You can save this now. And we can add another position called the Geo ID engineer. Which we have done before, but maybe there was something wrong with the spelling. Let's search for that again. Here is the one, Geo ID engineers. So let's say you're going to have an engineer in the drone maintenance, and a data engineer here. No, sorry, maybe you have an engineer in drone maintenance and also in the area. So one is a maintenance engineer, this one could be this could be a data engineer over here. Save this record. And make sure you save this again. Okay, now if you were to go to a particular user, like this, just now we created a user called drone man, and drone man, let's look for drone man. Now drone man works for the drone maintenance department. So you can add over here that he works for the drone maintenance department. Okay, we have already so many positions in so many departments. He works in the drone maintenance unit. You can save the record now as a GeoID engineer. You can see there are many other positions in many other departments that you can choose. but he is working in the drone maintenance unit as a drone engineer. When we save that record over there, the record is added to the employee record over here. Which employee record are we looking at? We are looking at the employee record of drone man. We can save and exit for drone man. Let's create another engineer called maybe data man. He reports to if I type your ID over here, let's say he reports to see, I only need to type SY, for example. I need only to type 3 letters, and then I have an automatic search. I can just tap over here to have the search fill in. Let's say this dataman's email is dataman@geoid.biz, and don't forget his password. Save this now so that you can access more options under the menu. So you can see just now there was only one option under the menu, but after you have saved the record, you will have several more options on the menu. We are waiting for the server to save it. So you see now that you have many more options on the menu. Select department and assign this user to a department under a specific role. We're going to search for all the departments in GeoID again, but we are only want to look for roles because there's too many roles in. We don't want to look at too many records. Just look for positions that's engineer. So we want him to be part of. He's going to be an engineer in the geodata processing department. He's not a manager. He's an engineer. So we select this record and save it. See now that he's working in this department, right? Don't forget to define his access group, otherwise he will not be able to go into the system. Access group is the type of license that has been assigned to the user. Is he allowed to access this module? Is he allowed to access that module? So there are 3 levels of licenses: manager, staff and view, and those define the capabilities of whether they can approve transactions, whether they can configure the system. But there are also other ways of defining license key. For example, he can only access which particular department and all that. So we're going to give him a full access over here. For drone man, no, we're going to give only access here, not a full access to drone man. So he does not have that access. He will not use the license, the manager license. For example, if you have bought 10 manager license for the organization, so you may want to reserve the 10 manager licenses for only the 10 people who can do that sort of work. So let's look at this data man now. We have already created his basic data. We have assigned him to a department, and we have assigned him to a license group. Okay. We can also assign him to teams. Let's look at this. Click the search button. So remember that we created the GeoID team just now to manage the GeoID data. So he could be one of those people who belongs to that team, can come from any department, but he belongs to that team to manage the GeoID data. Okay. Save and exit. So let's look back at the drone man that we have created earlier. We have created his general data. We have assigned him as an engineer in the drone maintenance unit, but we have not assigned him any SS group yet. So let's assign him to an SS group. Which particular license is he allowed to use in the system? Just say he's allowed to access this one, and he does not belong to the GeoID data management team since he's only an engineer. Yeah, his job function is different from the data managers. So we save this record. So yeah, we're done now for creating departments, for creating teams, and for creating users. So if you want to look at users from a particular department, okay, you have many business units here. Let's say we only want to look at the business under GeoID. So we press enter and it's only listing those GeoID. Let's take the top level. See, there's a tick here to say display lower level records. When we apply this, we are going to be able to see all the users that have been created for the group of GeoID people. Okay, so look at the search here. This search is looking for the GeoID people under GeoID including all the sub-levels. And next time maybe we want to keep on searching for the same again. So what you do is you just save this search, call it GeoID, make it public so that other people can use it same. And you have a save search. Next time you do not have to type in here anymore, you just click on the save search. And you will have the same results all over again. Okay, it's good to give this a try for the next coming week, and please use this component here to create organization units to design your organization structure in your company. Then later on you can go back to the users and you can assign users to those. So we are looking for org units under GID. Okay, I want to save this search. Make it public. So next time you have to look at your org chart, you don't have to search for it anymore, but you can go to, if you don't search, it's going to show everything. You can just click on this save search here and you get the same results as you get by searching for it. It's a shortcut that you can use to increase your productivity. Okay, thank you very much for listening. Please use this and give it a try.